everybody. It's time to make my hot pepper relish. And I want to show you the different kinds of peppers that I'm using, but I have this basket which is, I don't know, a quarter full. They're both hot and sweet and semi-sweet mixed in there. And I will put a link to the recipe down below, but I always have problems with these recipes and the ingredients that they give. This particular recipe that I'm using says to use 18 red chili peppers and 18 green chili peppers. Well, you know, that's a bit silly. That is a red chili pepper, and so is that. So are you talking 18 of those or 18 of those? And same with the green. Anyway, I'm going to use most of that basket. It also says to seed them. I'll probably seed about half of them, but I want this to be hot, so I'll leave a lot of the seeds in. These are sweet. Those are my mini yellow, which for me have turned out to be mini orange. They've crossbred with something. This, I think, is hot. It's what I'm growing and have labeled as Thai chilies. And I know the seed came out of one of my Thai chilies that I saved last year, but obviously it cross-pollinated with something. Those are a good 7 or 8 times larger than a Thai chili should be. I haven't actually tasted one. Maybe when I'm cutting them up I'll taste to make sure it is hot. These are Matchbox, red and the yellow both, which I'm finding strange. I have 2 Matchbox plants. One is producing red chilies and the other one so far is producing these light yellow ones. I think Kevin, who gave me the seed, Kevin Bradley, said that he's had his yellow ones turn a red shade or an orange shade or something eventually, but so far I just have the light yellow shade. This is Aleppo, which I know is very hot, and I have both green and a few red ones to add some color to the mix. This is Winks Yellow, which is a hot chili. I used one yesterday in a fresh pasta sauce. I sliced it in 2 first and just touched my finger to it and tasted, and it was hot, so I removed the seed. When I had the sauce made, it was just a small amount of fresh sauce. There wasn't any heat left at all, so I think I will definitely need to leave the seeds in those. And these are Espelets. I've saved the reddest ones. I'm drying those in the cabin, and looks like that's diseased. I won't use that one, I guess. But I find them a sweet pepper. There is some heat in them, but I'll be using those as well. And you need 4 pounds of onions. So that's 4 pounds of onions ready to go in the food processor. So get started here. I'll start by chopping the onions to get those out of the way. Give me a better work surface to work on the peppers with. I won't put so many in the next time. It's getting things chopped a little finer than I'd like to have it, and still some large pieces in there. So next time I won't fill it up quite so much, I guess. You need at least a 6-quart non-reactive container to put everything in, as in stainless steel. You couldn't use aluminum because you're using both acid in with vinegar and also salt, so it would react. Any non-reactive container. Well, I'll bring you back once I have finished with the onions. That's the onions done, and it worked much better with 3 pieces in the food processor, an onion and a half each time, and I didn't end up making it into a slush. Now I'll see if I can get the peppers prepared, and I'll come back when it's time to chop them. Well, I removed the seeds from, I don't know, probably roughly half of them. There's a point of no return anyway. If you leave enough seeds in, it doesn't make a difference if you left them all. It's only going to get so hot. These are those things that I'm growing for Thai chilies, and obviously not a Thai chili, crossbred with something. But I did try one of those, and there's plenty of heat. I wouldn't know if there's as much as there is in a Thai chili. It might be a bit milder, but they're a very hot chili. And Aleppos, I left quite a few of those with the seeds in, and as Kevin can attest, they are very hot. So I will now get the food processor going again and chop these. When I was doing the onions, it made my eyes water. I don't know what's going to happen when I get these in the food processor. That will do. I don't want them in a complete soup, but I also don't want large chunks. Well, I did it in 5 batches, and this is the 5th one. Well, that is the 2 ingredients, the peppers and the onions mixed together. And now you put a tablespoon of salt. I'm using a non-iodized sea salt, but this recipe does say that you could use table salt, which you don't often see with pickling because the iodine will turn things brown. Evidently, maybe just because there's only a tablespoon and it doesn't get left on it for any great length of time. I cover that with boiling water, enough to cover everything, I guess. I think that's probably enough. I'll stir it in a little. Yeah. And you let that set for 10 minutes. While that's setting, gives me a chance to explain what I was ranting about at the very beginning of this video. I don't think I did adequately explain what I was talking about when I don't understand why they give you a number of chili peppers. All I meant was they tell you to use 4 pounds of onions, so why not tell you to use like 2 pounds of chili peppers or whatever, and that way you would know that you had the correct amount rather than saying to use 18 and not saying what size they are. So that's what I was talking about. Well, it said it's 10 minutes, and now you drain it and discard the liquid. I'll let that drain for a few minutes, and then we'll start the next part of the process. Now that it's completely drained, you add 2½ cups of cider vinegar. Specified cider, but I don't know. I suppose you could use white if that's what you prefer. And 2½ cups of sugar. And once this is thoroughly mixed together, it goes on the stove and is brought to a boil, and then you turn it down to a simmer and simmer it for 20 minutes. At that point it's ready for canning. So a lot happening on this stove. I've got the lids on heating up. There's a canner next to this that's boiling away because they have to be canned after I get it in the jars. Anyway, this is just starting, if you can see here, starting to come to a boil around the edges. So I will time it now for 20 minutes, reduce the heat a bit so that it just simmers for 20 minutes. I feel like I should be doing the 3 witches scene from Macbeth. Double, bubble, toil, and trouble. This stuff is hot. I tried a teaspoon of it. Don't know in the canning process if it'll lose some of that heat or not, but it's got a great heat now anyway, which is what I wanted. I'll put it in the jars as dry as I can first, and then add some liquid to cover it. that's about right. It said that this would make 7 pints, following those mysterious directions. So I'm not quite certain what I'll get. I think I have roughly 7 pints here. I've got 4 that I think are pint jars, and then I've got 2 of my 750 milliliter jars. So put it together and you have something like 7 pints, I think. I'll bring you back when I've got it all in the jars. Well, I got the 4 pint jars and 1 of the 750 milliliter jars, and a bit left over. The bit that's left over I will just refrigerate and use it immediately. This now goes into the hot water bath, which it is in, and once it returns to a full boil, it boils for 15 minutes. And it looks to me like it's going to return to that full boil pretty quickly. I guess the jars were already quite hot. So that is that. I'll show you the finished product when it's out of the canner. Well, there they are. I have to wait for them to cool and hopefully seal. I'm always a little bit disappointed. I mean, the red still shows up very nicely, but whenever you make a relish of any kind like this, the lovely bright green disappears in the cooking process. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if you're interested in hot pepper relish, this is one way that you can do it, I guess.